Welcome. My name is Monique Henry Hudson, and I am the co-founder of Diverse Toons. Diverse Toons is an organization that highlights the importance of diversity in the animation industry by providing a platform for Black people and people of color to share their creative experiences, all while providing resources to our communities. Today, we are grateful for the opportunity to bring you a panel we call the Indie Life, where we have a couple individuals that are working on IPs, and they're going to just be talking about the journey, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. So I'm not going to hold you any longer. Let's get started. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for this panel. Like I said, again, I am Monique, and I will let our panelists today just go around introducing themselves. So first, start off with what are you currently doing and how you got started in the animation film industry.
Okay. Who's first?
I can go first.
Ladies first.
Thank you. So, hi guys. I'm Shama, and what I currently do right now, I am a freelance animator, storyboard artist, also associate producer right now. I wear many hats right now. But I currently work on Anango, and I'm also working on a new project, which I'm really proud to talk about, called Project Rogon as well. So I'm currently dabbling and wearing multiple hats right now.
Awesome. I guess I'll go second. Hey everyone, my name is Ruel Smith. I am currently a commercial director, VFX supervisor, and a head of animation and visual effects at the same studio called Step Studios. My background originally is animation. I was an animator for 16 years within the visual effects industry, and as of the past year and a half, I've transitioned into directing and visual effects supervising. I'm currently working on a series of projects, commercial projects at work, but also I am gearing up to shoot a sci-fi short film in the desert 2 weeks from today. So that's been my life for the past couple months.
So cool.
Awesome.
That's exciting.
Hello, everybody. My name is Joshua Leonard. I am a character designer currently at Sony Immersive and Baobab Studios. I'm also developing my own cartoon, Team Supreme, along with Hillman Grad, with Lena Waithe and Jason Weaver. That's really all I can mention right now.
Thank you. So also just going around, can you speak on why it's important for you personally as a creative person, but also for maybe other people to create your own projects as well as, working your 9 to 5, 10 to 6, 10 to 7, that type of thing?
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I mean, being in this creative field, most of us were creative, right? We're artists. We're, storytellers, Imagineers, if you will. And I think it's a natural instinct to want to always create and tell stories. We've been probably doing it, since we were 1 year old or 2 years old, maybe sitting in the back of the classroom, drawing in your notebook. But I think the biggest thing that happened is it was a passion and an art, personal art, that transitioned into a job, right? And so once that transition happens, there's so many other logistical things, brand, work, product placement, selling, that takes over. And so I always think it's important to always create your own thing as well, and keep, your creative, skills sharp, or your imagination going, as well as you're doing things at work. I think it's a great balance of having a commercial and a personal creativity.
Joshua?
Oh, man, I thought I was going to go last. For me, freelance for me is, I love it just because I get to bounce around to different studios. After I get this contract done, I get to bounce over to this studio. I just had to turn down Warner Brothers on a project, which is an amazing feeling. I'm very grateful for that. That's a big time studio that I would love to work for one day, growing up on Looney Tunes and stuff like that. But as it pertains to like my own projects and personal stuff, I feel like working on a personal project, you get to tell your own stories. Like Rule said, you just get to choose things that you wanted to see growing up, or ideas that you may have had that the studio wasn't really looking for yet or feeling just yet, and kind of push it yourself to show them proof until they will want to pick it up, i.e. Team Supreme, you know? So
Yeah.
I think it's a win-win. It's a win-win situation. You know, you sign these contracts, you do your 3-4 months or however long the project may be, and then you kind of just wait or get recruited for another studio. And the animation industry is pretty small, as you guys know. So it's like a really word of mouth type situation. So do good work, put your best foot forward, and you're on to the next one. So.
Like, I definitely like agree with that. Like with freelance, you have that flexibility to curate it to your own schedule. And with that, you can gain so many new skills from working on so many projects. So it's just like rapid fire. Like I've learned so much from just doing strictly freelance for a while than I honestly compare to being in school because it's real work experience. Yeah. And as far as like for me, why I think it's so important to like pursue your own personal project, like alongside freelance, outside of your 9-to-5, it's just because no one can actually tell a story like how you do. Everyone can tell a story, but it's very particular and unique to how one individual tells it from the other. Not everything's going to be the same, and that brings something new to the table that, like, especially like these big companies like Netflix and stuff like that, they're all looking for that. They're looking for like the newest thing. And that's why I want to work. And like, again, like what you guys mentioned, like I've always wanted more representation as far as like the characters I see. I don't know about y'all, but like there was like either one character that was a little bit darker than the others. That's my favorite. I latched onto that one like immediately, subconsciously. And I don't like that, but I want to change that. So
right.
No, that's so true. Do you find like, I know for me, I went to an art high school and I went to an art college, right? And then you immediately get thrusted into the industry because you don't want to be a starving artist for too long, right? But then as you climb and you grow as a skill set, there's always that thing that it's time to start your own stories or telling your own stories, or you start seeing, here is the skill set, but here are the stories that aren't being told, or it's not being used in this way yet. Do you guys find the same thing as well? Like, did that happen for you like throughout your career?
Yeah, definitely for me. And that's where the idea came from with Team Supreme. I wanted to, and I always tell people, I selfishly wanted to see a cartoon with superheroes who had disabilities. Like to me, that's like a big time. Even when we pitched, you know, my team and we all pitched to these big studios. Like, imagine Batman, but with one arm, or, you know, just like, let's make the playing field a little tougher while we teach the viewers. And it was something totally different. So that's me personally. I wanted to see something like that. More Black characters, more diverse characters, more inclusive characters. So I think that's the big for freelancers. Like, we can do whatever we want. You know, we can do whatever we want.
And
creatives. I'm sorry, creatives.
No, you're fine. But like, I felt the same. I don't know about you guys, but like the best way I can like articulate this is that like I remember seeing someone made a comic, and it was about their Black dad asking them like, why are your characters always white? Like, why don't you draw Black characters? And she wrote that like, because no one would care if they were Black.
Wow.
And she had to like learn, you know, that it's okay. Like, we deserve to be in the media. And like, I don't know, because I feel like that was a similar thing for me. Like my parents would ask, like, because I liked anime and stuff like that. That was a very big influence for me. That why weren't my characters Black? And it was such on a subconscious level that I never noticed that I did that. But now it's like, why do I do that? And I started actively wanting to put myself into what I what gave me passion to draw in the first place.
Wow, nice.
I was like on the other side of that, Shama, and I used to always draw Black characters to the point where like my mom was like, you may not be able to get into certain art programs or schools because you're only drawing Black people. And I was like, well, I don't know. Like, you know, this is just, it was like me subconsciously putting myself always in the art, you know? So I think that's interesting that you're speaking to that. I know two of you have more public facing projects, and Ruel, you did mention you're going to film your stuff, but I think the audience would like to know a little bit more about what you guys said that you're working on right now. So if you can, you know, just tell us a little bit more about Anango, Team Supreme, and if you can, Ruel, this futuristic thing that you're about to film. I think that'll be pretty cool.
Gotcha. No worries.
Okay, let's start with Anango. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so Anango is such a great project. I'm very excited to be working on that. So essentially, if you guys haven't heard about that, it's about Anango. She is a New York-based rapper that goes by Samus. That's like her moniker that she goes by, based off of the Metroid video game series. Nice. And we explore with her like her childhood, because she is, I want to say, first generation African. So like her parents came from Africa. She's the first one born here. And it's just like how their expectations for her and wanting her to succeed. And then she's like they want her to go to school, but she's like, I like rapping. Like I like being lyrical. She is very an inspirational and deep person. Like, just like, oh man, if you listen to her songs, like they're genius, like the lyrics and how she makes them. And it's from that and like her journey into school, because she went to, she got her doctorate, I believe. She recently, I could be wrong on that and I apologize, but she recently got, she recently got her degree, and it's like her like struggle with going on tour, being like a Black woman, and like mental health and stuff of that nature. So it's just like a lot of those deep feelings, and we're able to like bring like some of her past into the present with animation. So that's one of the amazing things. Like for example, my scene, which I can't talk too much about, but it deals with a lot of mental health and stuff of that nature, and how to navigate that as a Black woman, especially. So, and like what we do to try to appear strong and stuff like that, and those very vulnerable moments, you know.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah. So that's the biggest one that I'm working on. We're slowly on the tail end on that one. But you know, coronavirus kind of put a damper in some of those plans as far as like filming. So we transitioned to primarily just getting all of the animation done. So that's pretty close to being done, which is like, yay. And then also like a new project that I'm working on that we're going to start pushing forward is called Project Rogan. So it's a futuresque actually manga. So Japanese comic.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We're really trying to push that out. We're going to be hopefully doing like a Kickstarter and stuff soon. So be looking forward to that as well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah.
Yeah, first, congrats on Anango. I was a backer on that, so I'm really rooting for that to do well.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm obviously I can't talk about like the projects I'm working on with the Netflix or Baobab Studios or Sony Immersive, but Team Supreme is, if you don't know, it's about a group of kids who have disabilities, but their disability is their superpower. And what I did a ton of research, and I'm still doing research. When I develop these characters, I have to really dive deep and learn about certain disabilities to create certain characters, you know, asthma. And so I'm like, okay, well, how can this superpower be developed like this? And, you know, what what society may deem as a disability or, something negative, I see it as a positive. And that's what I wanted to show with Team Supreme. So like I said, I'm working with Hillman Grad, got Lena Waithe on board, Jason Weaver, both on, Deshae. So I'm really grateful to have that whole team behind me. And as far as like Netflix, what I've done with Netflix, I worked on a movie, developed a movie for Netflix and a show. And I can't say too much, but I will mention that Frank Abney is one of the directors that I was able to work with.
Nice. Okay.
Michael Francis Williams. I have to ask him, like, bro, when can I mention?
Not yet.
Yeah. He's like, wait, man, just wait. So I asked him. He's like, okay, don't tell him this, but you can tell him that you got to, we worked together on this film. So,
nice.
It's awesome, man. I'm
you
so
guys
grateful.
Are cooking over there. You and Frank.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. It's a blessing. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
If I could just chime in for the audience, I know like last year with all the racial injustice just like being to the forefront of what we were being exposed to on a public level and a national level, there was this call for just like also studios putting like their money where the mouth is, and we want to actually see these diverse projects that you claim that you're doing and all sorts of stuff like that. And animation is just such a slow moving industry. So the project that I'm aware of the project that you're working on, Joshua, and it is really exciting. And I just can't wait for it to be announced so that the public can know and feel like, well, something actually came from all that noise that was being made and gathering the attention.
True. Yep.
So it is very exciting, but also want to reassure you guys that like things are coming. It just takes forever. So, even the personal projects that you guys are working on, you're working on it now, but it's going to be still some time before we get to see what you're talking about in this space. So yeah, Ruel, can you tell us a little bit more about what you're about to go film in the desert?
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's it was affected also by COVID, right? Like a friend of mine, a coworker or former coworker, we were at Digital Domain and we were just talking about different things that we were doing, just creatively outside of work. And the short came up, and it's a short about, it's tentatively called right now Alpha Captain's Call, but it's a short about 3 soldiers on a distant planet, trapped behind enemy lines. And they're on like a desert-like planet, and they're scouts. And the issue is their recon, they got the info, they're trying to get out, their cover was blown. And so the short opens up after a huge explosion and fight happens, and it's only these 3 soldiers left. And the captain, who is a woman, and her 2 soldiers, and she is trapped with 1 soldier, and the other is isolated by himself, maybe 200 yards away. And so she is caught between a rock and a hard place because there are, futuristic drones patrolling, looking for enemies throughout the desert. And the one that's isolated, he's having a nervous meltdown. And he has his last grenade out and he's ready to end his life. And the other soldier who's with her, a tad bit more selfish, he is like, if he blows that grenade, it's going to alert the drones and they're going to come over and kill all of us. So she's caught between, a rock and a hard place in trying to proverbially talk someone off the ledge while having the soldier next to her stand down. And in trying to deal with the situation, it escalates and it ends not so great. And so it's just a call that she has to make. And it's I would say, if I had to pick 2 films that it's in the space of, or 2 projects, it would be Saving Private Ryan meets Mandalorian. It's kind of the space of the film, and it's based on it's a proof of concept for a feature that a friend of mine wrote as a writer. So we teamed up. We were supposed to do it last year, and then COVID hit because we wrote it right before, I would say, 2020 January is when we kind of decided on this is what we wanted to do. And then it just kind of, we made it through COVID, and we thought about doing it virtual production because of COVID, but then things started opening back up, and we realized, well, this is a pretty relatively socially distanced project, especially if we film it practical. It's 2 soldiers here and 1 separated. And so, yeah, we're going out into Trona Pinnacles. That's where they shot the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes, and they've shot Star Trek there. So it has a very like desert, you know, Mars type look. And so, yeah, that's the current project that I'm working on. I'm also in the process of writing my own feature films, but this was a great collaborative project because it shows my directing, but it shows my VFX and animation side as well.
Awesome. Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that today's my brother's birthday, who passed last year, and he's the one that taught me how to draw. So this is just a dope story now that I did mention Frank Abney. So gotcha. the day that my brother passed, the very next day, Frank hit me up on Twitter about the Netflix job that I got to work on. Wow. So it was like my brother left me that last little gift, you know, and Frank bringing me on board and trusting me was really dope, man. So yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to Netflix. I thought that was real cool, man.
No, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, so much beautiful storytelling that you all are sharing. Yeah. And Ruel, like I don't know if you're on TikTok and you do Instagram reels and stuff. Maybe it will or won't still be around, but I definitely want to see like the VFX breakdowns for what you're doing. Yeah, you're gonna have to make something like that.
It's cool, you know. For this particular project, I wanted to challenge the status quo, both the industry and where we are when it comes to diversity. And I'm big on diversity and, you know, inclusion. I know it's a cool word and it's a trend word, but for me, it's true diversity and inclusion. And all the projects that I've shot that's mine are, you know, the cast and crew. It's not just what you see on the screen. It's who's behind the screen. And so diversity across, you know, gender, sexual orientation, race, age is a big thing for me. And so there is that, but also in visual effects, because a lot of times any kind of, even like the Marvel movies, you might see diversity on the screen, but the visual effects and the animation is not necessarily diverse, the people behind that's working on it. And so I have assembled the top of the line, not like the best black and brown folks in visual effects, but like the best that can go up against any studio, like their resumes can go up against any studios, and they're just so happen to be diverse across the board. And so that was a big thing for me when showing the industry that we can put together a diverse team and they can go up against any big studio as far as resume and level of quality in the game. Yep.
That's awesome.
Right.
So also, do you saying something, Shama?
No, just reveling in the awesome.
Yeah. Can you all share some things that you wish you knew before you started your IPs?
I can start if y'all don't mind.
You have a list?
Go ahead.
Now, I would say the first people would say the creative confidence, but that comes with the territory, that comes with the experience. You don't want to rush that. You just, you want to earn that and lean into that. That just comes by nature of you putting in the work and honing your craft. I think, the logistics of building your brand and your business, the art, the business of being an artist. I wished I had that set up earlier. For me, especially talking about freelancers. So like I freelanced, I did freelancing for a long time as well. Still do as a visual effects artist and an animator. But I ran all that through just me as Ruel Smith. And I wish I ran that through an LLC and built the paper trail and the paperwork and the branding through a company, so that when I got 8-9 years in and I was ready to tell my own stories and I was ready to start my own thing, I would have had all this financial trail, this paper trail, this business models that I could have walked into a financial institution or, an investor, and it's not, oh, Ruel is making money, but here is this brand that's money is coming in and going out. And that when you think, oh, I'm ready to tell my own stories, okay, I need to start my own production company or I need to start my own brand, but you need that momentum of business and paper trail to help you. And so that was the biggest issue that I had when I was ready, you know, after 15, 16 years. I was like, okay, I'm ready to tell my own stories. I'm ready to start my own company and my own brand. Well, I didn't have that paper trail that I could have used as a freelancer coming into that. So now the struggle is, now I'm starting to build that paper trail so that if I wanted investment or I wanted a loan, or if I'd been hiring people, this whole PPP situation, if I was hiring people and I built that, I could have capitalized on that, which most businesses capitalized and used that to help start their business or grow their business. So I think that was the biggest learning lesson and the biggest jab that hurt, that I'm now starting from zero and building a brand paper trail and infrastructure.
That's a good point. Like, yeah. Just like, whoa. Oh my gosh.
You want me to go next?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, for me, I already had the LLC and the attorney and all of that, but my thing was like patience, because I think when you create an IP, everybody thinks they have the best, you know, oh, this is gonna do it. This got to get picked up. So it is a big patience thing. I'm pretty humble anyway, so I kind of knew, like, you know, I think Avatar took like 20 years before it got picked up or something like that. Star Wars took forever. So just having a grind and patience and a tenacity is crucial. What's the other one I just had that thing and it slipped off my mind. Oh man.
Patience is a good one, though.
Yes. Having a celebrity attached to projects. Like if you can get, this is what I was taught, if you can get a celebrity attached to your IP, usually it's a little easier. And for me, it's been good for me having Lena to mention, okay, yeah, I got Lena Waithe on there, who's hot right now. I got Jason Weaver, original Lion King, did all the songs for the Lion King. So
nice.
Getting a celebrity attached to a project will help. Obviously that's not easy, but when you have a project or IP that a celebrity can get behind and really believe in, I think that'll be a good look, and they will jump on board. You know, with mine being about inclusion and diversity, it kind of touches everybody. You know, it touches close to home with just about everybody, because we all know somebody with a disability. So that for me, yeah, patience, and then just getting a celebrity attached to it.
Nice.
See, like I think it's funny that you said that, because a project I can't talk about due to NDA, but we do have a celebrity attached to that too. So I'm really excited.
Tell us.
Don't do it.
I wish I could, but it's
congrats.
Thank you. It's gonna be pretty dope when that one drops too, because that's gonna be a kids show. At least I can say that. However, what I think it goes with like the grind that you were talking about, just to have the motivation, because like you're gonna be so gung ho in the beginning. It's gonna be, you're gonna like, yes, I can do this and whatnot. You're gonna hype yourself up, but that can only last for so long. Like there's gonna be times like you're gonna get rejected. But like you try to pitch to a studio, they're gonna say no, and then you're just gonna start feeling like, why did I even do this? Like you're just gonna, like bills are gonna be coming in because you're gonna be paying artists, or like you're gonna be doing this, and like bills don't ever stop no matter what. So you're just gonna be like, why am I doing this? So there's gonna be days that you're gonna be like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but you have to remind yourself why you have to. Very true. That's the hardest part, I feel like.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I always felt like, you know, I always tell people, you know, if it's about the craft and you loving your craft, like obviously you want to do it for the money and you want to do it to see the release, but you were doing it before all of that was a thing, right? And so I think good work ethic and honing your craft and, you know, and just keep creating and will always lead you to that.
That's so true too.
Yeah.
To continue getting to the juicy stuff. How did you all fund your projects? How'd you get money to do what you're doing?
Illegally. No, I'm kidding.
Well, Well, I can talk about that really quick, if that's okay. Like with Ananga especially, we had an Indiegogo, and it was actually very successful.
Crowdfunding.
Yep. So thanks everybody that donated. We really appreciate it. So crowdfunding and just really putting the word out there and just like making sure people know who you are. Like that's the biggest thing. They can't spend like money towards you if they don't know who you are. So like trying to be on social media prior to even you launching the Indiegogo to get people hyped, saying like this is what's happening and stuff like that. So crowdfunding like that, and also like Patreon, just so like you can have like behind the scenes. Like for the manga project that I was talking about, we have a Patreon as well, so you can see early things before we even release it to the public. So that's being like having stuff that are exclusive to certain people. That's always great. And then reaching out to investors too. Like there are people that do want to support and see like art like this being made, and they're gung-ho about helping out. So just finding those people like-minded by like networking and stuff like that.
Yeah. I would say I need to take a page out of Joshua's Patience book, which I feel like I don't have for crowdfunding. I wish I did. I need to get better at that. I think for me, it's a mixture of self-funding and more recently private investment, just like people coming on and donating or contributing. But I think the main thing what I did was I tried to reverse engineer. I don't try to go out and try to make this like big ambitious project that's logistically ambitious. I look at the amount of money that I have, the resources that I have, and then I craft a story within that means, right? And so say if I had $1,000 or say if I had $5,000, my first idea was maybe someone in a room as from a directing standpoint, where it's like one or two characters. And then I told that really well. And then hopefully that brought more people to wanting to help, whether it's in kind, their time or financial investment. And I just kind of doubled up on that. Like once you start building your momentum as someone sees, okay, that person is going somewhere, or I like their stories, I like them as a storyteller, you'll find more people start gravitating towards wanting to contribute. And so I've always just used, figure out the amount of resources that I have and then crafting a great story within that. And so most recently with this short, Captain's Call, I felt like the story was there. I'd built up enough credibility with like someone that creates and a network and a village. And we had some investment, some starter money. A friend and I put together, I put $5,000 in, a friend committed $5,000. And then I had another investor who came on who liked the idea and then committed $20,000. And so once I created a pitch deck, obviously, and show all the people that were interested and attached to it with the story, it being just 3 people in the desert, and then showing the people that I had, the visual effects resources that I had attached to it and the level of talent that I had attached to it, that just made it easier. And I'm using the same thing for my feature films, right? Like I've written a feature before where it was like, it's 2 serial killers on a road trip who meet by accident, right? And I was like, oh, this is a great idea. And I wrote it, but at the end of it, I'm like, this is not a great first feature because their bodies are dropping every city and locations are changing. So, that doesn't help me as a first time feature. So I decided to, okay, what's something that I can write where it's one location, maybe 2 to 3 characters, and just craft a story within that. And so I've started reverse engineering to making my first IP ideas, and then hoping that builds from there.
Really good answers from both of you. For me personally, a lot of people don't know, I work full time at Home Depot. So I do Home Depot full time. That's one income. And then I have these other 2 to 3 studios that I'm nice. Saving money and kind of doing that with. But I got humble real quick. I tried a crowdfunding thing. That's a beast of a project. And I remember I tried to raise like $50,000. I was gonna do a short film. I was gonna hand drawn animation, 3 to 5 minutes, Disney style, frame by frame. And I needed the 50,000 so I could leave Home Depot for like a year, just take strictly Monday through Friday work, and animate this thing. But out of the 50,000, I think I raised 6,000, which I was super grateful for. It was humbling because it's very hard. And then I did it by myself. Like, you really need a team to do a crowdfunding thing. But the $6,000, I bought a computer, and although I'm unable to, with all the stuff I have going on, I can't really animate scenes and stuff like that. So what I do is I kind of brand myself and Team Supreme, and I'll kind of sneak these little characters and, little artwork here and there. And that's kind of what I did, man. And it has gotten me a ton of interviews. So I feel like the celebrities that have got behind me, the magazines, any type of publications like that is money for me. And it's been very helpful. So my whole outlook of it is a little different, but I just kind of tease these characters and I learn more about them, and I want to grow a whole team of like a whole world, like a Marvel universe, but with characters, heroes, and villains with disabilities. So
the new Stan Lee, brother. I love it.
Oh man, golly, that's tough.
I don't know if you're going to ask this, Monique, but I'm interested to hear. I mean, even for me, but I'm pretty good at the people as well. But even for me, like, were you able to get these celebrities like the Lena Waithe brand and the other studio behind your project, or how were you able to get them on board? I don't know if you had that as a question before. Maybe that's a question down the road.
I think this is your panel too. We're just like co-moderating. That's fine.
I'm learning too.
No, that's a really good question. And the truth is, I'm a big deal. No, I'm just kidding, man.
Look, confidence.
I love it.
No, I'm kidding, man. To be honest, my support system is crazy, and I'm not a celebrity, but like, the people that support me, they make it seem like I'm up there. And that goes from social media. Like, I have supporters that will write magazines, and, the magazine will hit me up. Hey, this person told us about Team Supreme and how we should look you up and do this. And then that's how I get interviews.
Nice.
So that's what happened. And then Attention, and shout out to Shakira Farrell. She's the one that actually wrote Attention.com, and they did this huge 3-minute segment on me, and it went viral. That's the one that went viral. So and Shakira has a son that's on the autism spectrum, so his name is Jaden, and she dresses him up as my main character Zeke, who has autism. And when that thing went viral, that's when what's his name, George Takei, yeah, so he saw it, he shared it. Just celebrities started to see it. Lena did an interview with somebody, I think it was in LA somewhere, but she was mentioning, she didn't know it was me, but she knew it was me. Like, she was like, yeah, there's this brother that creates these characters with disabilities. The disability is the superpower. And she's like, yeah, I had my guy reach out to him, which they really did. And shout out to Rishi. He's the president of Hillman Grad. They hit me up, Jason Weaver. And it was a wrap from there, man. Like, they flew us out to LA. We pitched to everybody. And I didn't have to pay a dime. You hear me?
That's awesome. That's great to hear, man. That's
a
awesome.
Blessing.
Your work is dope anyway. So I mean, I think that's a strong, launch pad.
Thank you. And you know what else? I think it's how I carry myself and how I branded social media, because animators don't rock suits like I wear. You know that rule, man. You should have put yours on too. We can do a photo shoot one day, but I think
Two brothers in suits.
Absolutely, man. In the animation industry, I feel like how you carry yourself and how you brand yourself. My father raised me. You are a walking resume. So, and then in the animation industry, you don't really see people in suits unless it's a award show.
Yeah.
But I like fly suits and tailor suits and dope pictures.
So you stand out.
Yeah, man. Exactly. So I think certain celebrities see that and they know I'm about my business.
Yep.
So, and then everything is positive. Everything is professional on my social media. I took down all the middle fingered up pictures, and I never had them. I'm just kidding. I never had them. But you know what I'm talking about, though. So I just keep it professional.
Gotcha.
So I do want to acknowledge your confidence, and that just inspired me to ask, how do you all navigate imposter syndrome as you're creating these personal projects? And like, I just feel like it's almost inevitable, you know? So I think that could be interesting and informative for the audience as well.
That is, yeah. You want to go first?
Just came from me.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So like I was just talking to Kevin Schreck, the director of Anango. I was telling him, like, sometimes I don't, it's like surreal. Like, I don't feel like I should be doing this. Like, I'm clearly capable, but for some reason I put a limiter on my own self, and I don't know why. It's just, there's no like real rhyme or reason. It's just that, like, for some reason, it feels too surreal that I'm in the position where I'm at right now. And it's just how to navigate and like work past that. I'm not sure. Like, I would say like I have that answer right now, but like to keep it 100, like I don't know. And that's something that I feel like that's going to come with time as I progress and mature in this industry. It's just more or less me being able to put my hands on certain things and just like being able to work in things. That's when I feel like I'll get that more confidence, because like your confidence is right now, Josh, is like so inspiring to me. Like I aspire to be like that. Like,
thank you.
I really do. But like at the same time, I feel like as a woman too, like if I do that, like if I come off as too cocky, like that, like some people are gonna feel a type of way about that. Like it's like, unfortunately, I feel like they're like double-edged sword on that.
It's a tightrope being a woman of color.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the two things are, the only way to get over imposter syndrome is don't quit and keep doing the work. For me, it was a similar thing. You know, as I mentioned, at Step Studios, this commercial production company here in Los Angeles, you know, being a director of VFX supervisor and then now head of animation and VFX, my opportunity with them was birthed in the wake of the George Floyd movement. And, you know, initially in 2019, the coming into 2020 was I was going to retire from animation and transition into directing. Like that was the goal. And I was going to work on a couple of shorts and then, you know, make my first feature that year. And then COVID and the lockdown happened. And so that took away a lot of opportunities, and I had to kind of rethink. And Stepped, you know, I guess someone recommended me through LinkedIn, and I got an interview. And what happened to them was they were looking to build out their visual effects and animation department, or get more visual effects and animation work on their reel. And they necessarily did not have that background. So because of COVID and the pandemic, a lot of commercials stopped filming practically, like in location, but there were more CG and animation commercials, or animation driven and CG driven commercials that were happening. So they reached out, we had a great conversation, a bunch of interviews, and they wanted to give me my directing credit, my official directing stamp. But what the caveat that came with that is they needed someone with animation and visual effects experience to visual effects supervise. Now, if you know the animation pipeline, or the CG pipeline or VFX pipeline, it's not a traditional jump to go from being an animator to being a visual effects supervisor. You normally become an animator, animation supervisor, animation director. And so once I moved into that role, as you know, figuring out my directing, building my creative confidence for directing, I'm also carrying the hat of visual effects supervising. And so I suffered, you know, my first couple months, even sometimes now, from imposter syndrome, because it was like, it's not a traditional jump. But I just kind of used my experience. You know, the biggest thing I learned is that everyone has a unique experience and how they, you know, their perspective and how they approach things. and just lean into your personal experience and, you know, and not giving up, and just doing the work and just keep doing the work, and just knowing that, you know, you're going to have stumbles, you're going to have things that you need to do better at, but just lean into it and wanting to get better. And, you know, that's what's kind of helped keep me going, because in January, after the first 6 months, we had done so well at the studio and bringing in more visual effects projects that they were like, hey, we want to build out a department. So now the next challenge and the next hat was literally building an animation and visual effects department from the ground up. And so that's what I've spent the last, what is this, May, June, 6 months, building out, while still, you know, while still directing and being creative. So yeah, the good and bad news is if you're doing well, you're going to be climbing, and the imposter syndrome is probably not going to go away, because you're always trusting yourself into newer experiences if you're putting in the work.
So both good answers from you guys. I'm a natural, like, confident person, but I'm still very humble. I know what I need to work on as an artist, and as an artist, I'm always looking to grow. So when Frank hit me up to work on the Netflix project, that was already a lot of pressure on me, just because Frank did so much stuff for Pixar, and you know, just wanting a Oscar for
Canvas.
Yeah, well, he didn't win an Oscar.
Oh no, I'm so no, got it. Yep.
Soul, yeah, Soul. You know, he worked on Soul and everything else with Pixar, but so I was already kind of nervous, because I'm like, man, I've seen industry standard artwork, and I felt like I could compete enough. And I will always, when I had to turn in work and stuff, and I always tell the younger kids or anybody else looking to get into the character design part of the animation industry, that it is, for me, it's a lot like school. You literally get the assignment, you get the breakdown of these characters, you draw a ton of them, and then you get a critique, just like you would if you were in school with your teachers. So, and then and with Frank, he would go back and do draw overs for me, which is super helpful, where they can share the screen, and then he'll draw in red, and, you know, maybe make the cheek a little more round like this. And then I would always tease him, like, man, if you can draw that good, why am I here for? You know, like, you don't even need me, brother. You know, but it was always good times, but I would still feel pressure, not from them, just me, as I'm trying to do my best work and really trying to impress these you know, the directors, the art directors, anybody. And I'm still like that today. Like, I'm very passionate about the things that I care about. So I'm very tenacious. You know, I'm always trying to put out my best work, even at Home Depot or something like that. You know, wherever I work, whatever I touch, I try to make it my best. But yeah, that for me, that's about what it was. A lot of pressure for me, but I always did feel like I could compete. Never thought I was the best, but I thought I could compete enough to get in the industry. You know what I mean? So now that I'm in, okay, now we need to keep rising, keep growing, keep learning. And that's one thing, I'll never stop learning.
I feel that too. I'm sorry. I just want to say that, like, I resonate deeply, because, like, you always got to stay hungry to learn. You can't be satisfied with just being here. You just always continuous, gradual, always trying to be better than what you were yesterday. So yes, I relate.
Yeah.
So we're coming down to the end, but I have two more questions. And the first one being, as leading, you know, your projects, how do you cultivate a team? He'll come back. And how do you encourage your team? If you plan on getting a team.
Do you want us to go? Start?
Yeah, he'll come back. I'll repeat it for him.
Okay.
Do you want me to go?
Sure.
I would say it takes a village, right? As far as cultivating your team, at the center of it is it's going to always take a village to get the creativity that you're, especially on the level that we are trying to create and the type of work we try to create, both animation and films. And so I think you can't do everything yourself, and you shouldn't want to do everything yourself, because you always want to have other perspectives, other ideas, other energy in the room throughout the entire process. And the better a project, the better the results, is because of the team that you have that believes in you and wants to shoulder that load with you. And so I think I would say I learned that about 3-4 years ago, because when I got out, it was like, okay, I can do all this by myself. Once I started working on my own stuff, I was like, oh, I can do all this stuff by myself. I have all these skills. And then I realized that my job, especially as, the creator of it and the director, it is to inspire the world that wants to bring people in, and those people want to elevate their parts of it. And I remember taking a directing, acting for directors workshop, or directing actors workshop, where you brought your material and then you learn from another acting coach or acting directing coach on the best way to get the performances out of the, your actors. And it was always like, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. I need this done. I need this done. But then when I took that class, it just opened my eyes, or that workshop, because it was a conversation with the actors about the material, how they felt, what inspired them, what stood out from them. And so what I took from that was, I just inspired for each department. I inspired the world, whether it's the cinematography, whether it's the visual effects, whether it's the acting. I brought in these people and tried to create an environment and a world that inspired them, and then use that collaboration to elevate each part of it so that they feel a part of it. And it is like running a marathon, right? It's hard to be the same energy and the same level at the beginning as it is at the end. And you're going to always need those people to help you carry the ball down the field.
Okay, and for Joshua, the question was just for your IPs, how do you cultivate and encourage a team?
Oh, that's a good question. For me?
Yep.
You and Shama can tag team it.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with what he said. I'm a big believer that you're only as successful, or you'll only be as successful as your team, as the people around you. And in my case, with Team Supreme, to have, like I said, Jason Weaver, who was a child actor, I'm learning so much from this dude, just because he has a long line of, just years of work that he's teaching me acting stuff that I put towards animation, character design, learning from Lena, how she writes, and just that whole Hillman grad thing is for me, I'm just trying to soak everything up like a sponge. And as a team, everybody kind of bounces off each other. So I feel like that's the best way you're gonna get a dope project, is if you hear from everybody, diversity, inclusion, all of that type of stuff. So
yeah, I agree with both of you, actually. So like, in my opinion about that, it's just that collaboration, just like, I agree. Because like, you do kind of feel like it, like, oh, this is like my baby, like I have to do it myself. And like, one, you're gonna burn yourself out before you even get like even halfway, because it's so much work, or it'll take forever and then before you could launch it out. But like, the people that you keep around you in your circle to help with this project, your team, like they could help cultivate that baby to like even be better than what you thought it was going to be. Their opinions, their views, like their cultural backgrounds can like help influence that project even more and just make it even better. So kind of to go based off of what you just said, as far as like, I want people that are what I consider better than me. So I can learn from them, because I can constantly ask a question like, why did you choose to do it this way instead of like maybe this way? And then they explain their process, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I would never have thought of that. And it's just like, I just put that in the back of my mind, like, okay. So it's always great. And then like, it's just like the morale. Like that's one thing I do miss about school too, is like you do have that kind of collaboration, that art inspiration. And like, because there's no better feeling is to collaborate with a whole bunch of other creatives that get you like that. It's just so great just to bounce off ideas, just have fun with it. That's like pure joy right there.
Yeah.
Okay, and last question would be on that note with collaboration. We all have like dream people that we would love to work with one day, but why is it important for us and people in general to collaborate with our peers that's on similar levels to us?
It's a real good question.
That is.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Like with that, especially like I think about like the people I did go to school with at CCAD, Columbus College of Art and Design, and with people like that are on the same level, like it's like the same struggle. Like we're pretty much in the same area. Like we understand, like we where we want to be, and it's just like the same drive, and that to me is very important as well. I hope I'm answering this question right, but like that's what that comes to me, is that like we both are in the same spot. We're both trying to struggle to get to this point, and then with that we can help bring something new to this project in general, you know.
Absolutely. I think just building on that, high tide raises all boats, right? And I think it was like Issa Rae that had mentioned that it's whenever you're sitting, so you go to like a Q&A or a networking thing, and there's the celebrities on the stage that are talking, and it's always like, oh, I need to talk to that exec, or I need to get that network with that exec. But it's the people around you, the lateral networking, that's a lot more practical.
Yep.
And you're going to get a lot more time and energy and experience from those people, and those people along with you that's what's going to elevate the both of you to those places that you're looking to be. And so a lot more of the times it's networking more or collaborating more lateral than spending time trying to, I need to work with this dream person, because you and the people next to you are going to become that dream person.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say, man. I'm big on like that grind and working with somebody like your peer. You both seen that struggle. You both see you trying to reach that same mountain that the celebrity's on. So I think you kind of appreciate it a little bit more. That grind, having that goal to get where they're at, and doing it together with your peers, with somebody with that same mentality, And I'm big on like working with people that are hungry, because I'm gonna go get it. I don't make excuses. I will go. Like I used to be homeless. I'm a Hurricane Katrina victim. I do not make any excuses. I don't believe in excuses. If I'm good at it, I'm gonna do my best at it. So and I feel like that's how my peers. That's the type of people I hang out with. Like I'm really gonna go get it, celebrity or not. They're gonna notice who I am one day, and I'm gonna make sure that. So that's my whole mentality,
Nice.
That's so true. Like, just one thing I wanted to add to that, if that's okay, is just that, like, oh man, I had it and then it went away. Never mind.
Well, it's okay. I want to chime in on this too, because with all the work that we're doing with Diverse Tunes, really, it's as much as the people who show up to the stuff and watch these things, it's our participants. So all of you have been a part of previous conversations that we had for our summit last year when we were doing one-on-one interviews and our demos and all sorts of stuff like that. And it's from working with our peers that like we're constantly being elevated in what we're doing, and we're able to even have this opportunity where I'm able to give it back to you all so you guys can talk about your projects and people can find out who you are and follow you and hopefully fall in love with what you're doing and continue to support. And it's like, it's a constant communal effort. You know, my mom often says, one hand washes the other and together they wash the face. If you're West Indian, you may have heard something like that before. And that's just like what we do. And I really love the atmosphere that we're creating and that, you know, what we're working and maneuvering in. And I'm so excited to see all that you all are doing. And I want to share what I'm doing with you all too, but this wasn't about me today. And I'm just like, so excited and thankful. So can we just go around, and if you want to just shout out like your website or your social media, whatever you feel comfortable with. If your project has its own social media or website, you can share that too, so people can learn more about as well.
I guess I'll go first. I'm Joshua Leonard. My Instagram is at Joshua. I'm Joshua Leonard. So I am JOSHUA LEONARD, and everything, all my websites are on that page. You can find everything about me there. And shout out to Diverse Tunes. Thank you, Monique, for what you do. Your whole team, your whole crew. Y'all are crucial to the industry, and we can't thank you enough. So thank you.
And I'll go second. Leave the best for last. But yeah, I'm Ruel Smith. ReelRuel.com. Spelled REELRUEL. That's my handle on Instagram as well. Real Ruel. And yeah, I mean, I want to also shout out Diverse Tunes. That's kind of where I was going to leave it at. I mean, I feel like when I started in this industry, there's very few Black folks in animation. I mean, I graduated 2004 from School of Visual Arts, go SVA. And there wasn't. And so it's been a long time. It's gotten better, but it can be better. And I think with Diverse Tunes is where I got to see my counterparts like a Joshua, and Shama, sorry. And just, you know, with everyone else that's come through all these different programs and interviews. And so being in industry this long, you know, a lot of the people that are Black and brown that I've met is through Diverse Tunes, and just to be able to see everyone's work. So shout you out, Monique, and the crew at Diverse Tunes.
Yep.
Just to go back off of that, Monique, Diverse Tunes is the GOAT. I appreciate y'all for everything y'all do. You guys are amazing. As far as like my socials, you can find my personal art, Shashi Star. That's how it's pronounced. It's SHASHESTAR. So that's for my personal work. But watch the projects that I'm working on, the Enongo movie. So ENONGO movie. On Instagram, and I believe it's the same on Twitter. And then Project Rogon. So that is also going to be on Instagram that has links to our Patreon and stuff. And that is PROJECTROGON.
And on that note, thank you, everybody. Continue enjoying the rest of Comic-Con, and hopefully we'll be there in person soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for having me.